Yo, what is good YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're talking about the bans and the pack odds and all these things that have changed recently in NBA 2K23 MyTEAM. I just want to give y'all my opinion on all of these things, both from a casual perspective and from a competitive perspective, because I feel like I can kind of look at it from both perspectives. Because one, I'm a content creator. That's the casual side of the game, and I've been playing the game more casually as of late. I pretty much retired from competitive a couple months ago. Haven't really been playing competitively much, if at all, and that has given me a different perspective on the game. But obviously, having played competitively for years, I have that competitive viewpoint as well, and I'm interested to look at these changes and these things that 2K has done over the past week that have really changed the game significantly, and give y'all my thought process on the bans and on the pack odds specifically that have changed. Before we hop into the video and discuss all this, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 10,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, generally multiple videos a day, and I would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. But that being said, without further ado, let's hop right into it. The first thing we should talk about are the bans. I never really gave my perspective. I haven't, at least in a video, given my perspective on all the bans that have been happening. And obviously, every 2K content creator pretty much has been affected by them, with the exception of just a couple guys. And that's because, obviously, as we all know, they banned basically everybody for 10 days because of MT buying. Everybody who bought MT got banned for 10 calendar days, and they're saying that once you get unbanned, if you get caught buying MT again, it'll be a 30-day ban, and then the third offense will be a permanent ban. So I'm not certain that they'll follow through with the 30-day and permanent bans, but I expect that they will, and the things that they did today with the pack odds continue to reinforce that thought process to me, that they're serious about this and that they're trying to take MT buying out of the game entirely. I'm sure people will try to find workarounds and loopholes to try to buy MT still, especially competitive players and people who are really committed to trying to get the best teams and cards with tons of Hall of Fame badges and all that stuff. But what I'm interested to see personally is how this continues to affect the community in terms of the prices of cards. Today was a good promising step, I will say that, and I'll get to pack odds in a second, but I'm interested to see how this affects price of cards, the people that are playing the game, if the player base comes back. It seems like a lot of people are still buying packs, so I guess there's that. 2K is still going to make a lot of money off packs, and I don't think that's something that they really need to be particularly concerned about. People were overblowing that, I think, massively, because the community's never going to go on a pack strike. It's just not going to happen. I don't see that as a realistic possibility. But my take on the bans, I think it was fair for 2K to ban people for breaking terms of service. They made that very clear. I've been banned before in the past for promoting MT buying, which was something they had cracked on in the past. They hadn't cracked down on the MT buying itself, at least in my memory, ever, but they had cracked down on the promotion multiple times. I'd been banned 3 times over the past couple of years for promoting MT buying on my channel, which is something that I don't do anymore because obviously I'm not trying to get banned anymore. But this is the first time they've cracked down on the MT buying, and I think it's it's justified. It's fine for them to do it, but I do think they do it at risk of losing a big part of their community, and especially the part of the community that is the most vocal. They have a lot of community, obviously, that aren't active on Twitter and YouTube and people like that, who play the game and spend money on the game, both MyTEAM and other modes. But the most vocal part of the community is obviously the part that you're going to see on Twitter and Twitch, and especially YouTube. That is where the most supportive, I guess, and most dedicated of the player base falls into place. So I think it's important for 2K to not just appeal to the complete casuals who aren't super involved in the community, but basically try to appeal to everyone, including that massive player base that is being banned, and the player base that has mainly been affected by these bans. So though I do agree that it is fine for them to ban people, even though maybe that's not the strategy that I would have taken if I was in charge at 2K, it's important that they make changes to make the game more worth playing without buying MT, because in the past, at least, it has been almost impossible, not almost impossible, but if you have a job and you only play this game a reasonable amount of time, like I play this game a lot more than the average person because it is my job. Even being in school and stuff like that, I spend a lot of time on this game because it is my job and has been for the past couple of years. But for the casual player, they only spend an hour or two maybe on the game a day unless they're off work, and then maybe it goes up to 3 or 4, but they're still playing the game, what, 10 to 15 hours a week-ish, and you have to be able to, if you want to have the best cards in the game, the only way to really effectively have those cards, if you play the game 10 to 15 hours a week, is number one, spend a ton of money on packs, because VC has never been worth it, or number two, buy MT, which is a significantly cheaper option to buying VC, always has been, and that's why more and more of the community have gone towards buying VC, or buying MT, I should say, over the past couple of years, because of how much more value you get for your money. You can buy a million MT for $40, versus if you spend $100 on VC, get 450k, you might get 200, 250, 300,000 MT, unless you get super lucky and pull something amazing, which does not happen very often. As y'all have probably seen by my pack opening videos and lots of other pack opening videos this year, pulling the best cards in the set is very rare. I have pulled a total of 1 Galaxy Opal this year, and it wasn't even in a pack opening, and I've seen other people really not pull a lot either. But that leads into the change that 2K has made, and this is, I guess, intended to incentivize people to buy more VC, to stay away from buying MT, and to make packs more worth opening. And that is, as y'all can see, if you go over here to the packs and you hit more info, it shows the pack odds, and the pack odds are now up to 97 plus rated player, which is a Galaxy Opal, up to 10%. You have a 10% chance, supposedly, of getting a Galaxy Opal out of a pack. Now, I will say this, I opened like 20 plus singles in my pack opening video today and didn't pull a single Opal, so that was pretty unlucky, but I've seen a lot of other people pulling a ton of Opals. But the thing is, 8 out of that 10% of Opals is unauctionable Opals. This is a statistic that I saw my boy Jazz, who's an X-Maker, give out on Twitter earlier today. They didn't change the percentage of auctionable Opals that you can pull. It's still at 2% the way that it was previously, but the other 8% is now unauctionable players that they have now added into the packs. As y'all read in the description, it contains 1 guaranteed auctionable player and 4 random items with a chance of pulling a stellar player and a chance to receive a bonus non-auctionable stellar player card. And obviously we're pulling these packs at this point in the year for Opals like Ben Simmons, Scottie Pippen, and Chet Holmgren, and 8 of that 10% is going to be unauctionable players. So the vast majority of Opals and really good pulls that you get are going to be unauctionable players. Now, I will say, for the casual player base, I think this is a W, because people want to play with Ben Simmons and Scottie Pippen and Chet Holmgren and guys like that. And the best cards, the Opals that come out every week, those are the guys people want to play with. And if they have a much, much higher percentage chance of pulling those cards, say you open a 20-pack box for 198,000 into VC, you spend $50 on VC, you open a 20-pack box, you should, based on those pack odds, pull 2 Opals out of that pack. Whereas previously, there's a very, very high chance that you wouldn't have pulled an Opal at all. So your chances of getting an Opal are much, much higher, but the chances of getting an optional Opal are actually exactly the same, which is something that I think is an interesting distinction to make, because for the casual player who just wants to use Ben Simmons and Scottie Pippen and et cetera, whatever Opals come out each week, they're not going to have a much higher chance of getting those Opals. But for the sweaty competitive community, when you get an unauctionable card, that's frustrating because they're stuck in your account. You can't sell them once you're done having that card in your account, because a lot of people sell all the cards that aren't in their 10-man rotation once they're done. They sell everything that they can, basically, to make as much MT as possible, so then they can go buy the next card that comes out the next week. Now you're going to have to spend money to get that next card that next week, and you don't get cards with extra Hall of Fame badges and stuff. You can't go on the auction house if you don't have the MT. If you're pulling unauctionable players, it's hard to go on the auction house. It's much harder to get the MT, I should say, to go on the auction house and buy cards with souped up Hall of Fame badges and stuff like that, which is something that's very important, especially for the competitive community and the community that is really tuned in on Twitter and Twitch and to YouTube videos like this one. Hall of Fame badges are important. People want extra Hall of Fame badges on their card. They want their cards to be souped out, is the term. And it's going to be very, very hard to get cards like that. It's going to become harder to get cards like that because you're going to be making less MT by pulling unauctionable players. Your odds of pulling auctionable players are still the same, and now the auctionable players are cheaper than they were anyway, because everybody has a higher chance of getting the unauctionable players. So even if you pull the auctionable players, they are cheaper, which is good for the no money spent player and the casual player. Again, the players are going to be cheaper, but you're going to have a harder time getting the lots of MT that you need to get a souped up card with Hall of Fame badges. If you pull an auctionable version of a player, you have to quick sell them if you want your MT. If you pull more than one, you have to quick sell them, which is just frustrating. I think they did add an exchange today where you can exchange a Galaxy Opal for a Hall of Fame badge, but you can only do it once. It's not something that you can repeat over and over again. And so you're going to wind up quick selling Opals if you pull multiple of the same Opal that are unauctionable, and you can't sell them once you're done using them. And it's going to be harder to gain MT because cards are cheaper on the auction house, and your odds of pulling the auctionable players are still just as low. So I don't know how I feel about this pack odds change. Like I said, for casuals, for the majority of the community, I think it's a good thing. For a content creator like me, it's a great thing, because that means more people are going to be getting the top cards each Friday, which makes it easier for me to get gameplays out to y'all and things like that when they dropped packs and hype cards and things like that. But for the sweats, I don't know if I like it. I don't think 2K cares that much about catering to the sweats at the end of the day, though. I think they're more focused on catering to the larger percentage of their player base that just wants to use good cards. And if they have a higher percentage chance to get that card in a pack this week, they're more likely to drop 20 or 50 or $100 on the game trying to pull that card or those packs, and because they have a higher chance of getting those cards. So it's got its positives and its negatives, just like the ban wave does. And so I'm kind of in the middle on both of these things, both banning people for MT buying and for changing the pack odds the way that they did with unauctionable players. It's got its positives and negatives, so I don't exactly know what to think about it. I personally think the best course of action that 2K could do would be cut the VC prices in half. I think if you just cut the VC prices in half, that'd be a huge progress made. If they could up the chances of getting an auctionable player a little bit, make it 5% auctionable, 5% unauctionable, something like that. I think if you change things like that, those could make even more progress, and obviously those might make 2K a little bit less money. But if VC is cheaper, people are going to buy more VC. If pack odds are better and getting the chance of getting an auctionable player is higher, people are going to buy more packs. Things like that will make 2K money, and I think those will be positives for 2K. But I don't know why they're so committed to trying to still be a bit stingy about the way that they do things. It's better, but it's not great. And then the MT ban, I understand MT buying takes away from 2K's money and the money they're making, and obviously it's not allowed either, so they're fully within their rights to ban people. But I still don't know if it's totally the right course of action that I would have taken if I was 2K. But it's an interesting concept, and I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on this whole debate, both with bans and pack odds. So let me know what you think about this video down in the comment section down below. If you agree with my opinion, disagree with my opinion, I'd love to hear your opinion regardless. So feel free to leave a comment and let me know what that is. But that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.